Hey guys, Ryan Earnhardt here from CreativeSoundLab.tv. Well, today we're hanging out with my friend Ulf from HoboRec. If you haven't seen his channel, I highly recommend his YouTube channel. He does a lot of the same stuff that I do here, and he's got his own spin on it. He's got his own creative voice. It's some really cool content, really cool videos. I wanted to kind of get behind some of his story, some of his inspiration, kind of the way he works creatively. And we hung out a little bit at NAMM back in July. So here's a short interview of me and Ulf hanging out from HoboRec. So tell me how you first started your YouTube channel.
I have been thinking about creating some sort of content for like many years because I feel I always got so much information out of like internet and free stuff that I learned. So when I'm learning stuff, I like to try to give something back. At first I thought about like starting a blog or something, but that's not really my thing. And I was already interested a little bit in video production before. And then I saw actually your channel that did a little bit of what I wanted to do, like more the recording side.
Yeah.
I mean, of course I do some like mixing in the DAW things too, but because that's a part of my job. But I like to focus more on the recording because that's where you actually create stuff.
Yeah.
And there are so many other channels already about mixing.
Well, it's really cool that you felt like you could jump right into it and started creating, because each one of us is going to have a unique voice.
Yeah.
And no matter how many people are doing it, there's only one of you and one of me. So it's really good that you were able to see something that you liked and find your own voice in it and just jump right in and start creating. I think that's fantastic. What type of topics do you usually cover in videos?
I try to experiment with stuff. So sometimes I do a video about something that I have no idea how it's going to turn out. like using my walls as room microphones.
That was a cool video.
And I mean, the result, probably not very usable, but it does something. And and that's what I like to present. I present my findings, and then let people decide what they think. I try not to. I'm not like a truth bringer or something. I don't say like this is how it is. This is the best way to do it. I'm more like experimenting and trying to find things out, and then just present the results.
I love that, man. Yeah, I mean, there's some videos that you've done where I'm just like, oh. Man, that's such a good idea, you know?
I'm glad you said.
Like, there's one video you did that said, it was called Reamp Your Room. And I'm like, oh, that's such a good title name, you know?
Yeah.
Because it makes so much sense. It makes the connection for people. And then it's like, oh, yeah, my room is an effect, you know? I just think you've done some really cool videos that, you know, there's a lot of them that are like, oh, man, like, you beat me to it, you know, and I'm inspired by it. Like, I've been experimenting with the contact mics. And in fact, I went back to reference your video of how to even wire the stupid thing, you know. So I'm using your videos to inspire me, you know. Yeah,
and vice versa. I mean, you did reamping the snare drum, of course.
Oh yeah.
That must be your like biggest video, right?
Yeah.
And I tried to make like reamping the kick drum.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it didn't turn out very good. But as I said, I want to try this, and then I try it, present the results, and I mean, I don't think it's much point of only making successful experiments, because then no one knows. So I mean, and even if it's not that successful, I mean, it could be used for something sometime. And you can also build on it and do something else.
That's really interesting, because there's probably a lot of ideas that I didn't complete because I didn't think that it would be useful. But I really probably shouldn't make that judgment. I think I should at least show it, and then even if it's just completely crazy, it's just really good insight that you just kind of try stuff and show it, and we get to be along for the ride.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's my philosophy. I try to keep a little bit of that thinking when I work with bands too. That if there's time in the budget and in the scheduling, I try to like experiment a little bit with things. And I try not to be so totalitarian, is it called that?
Yeah.
in how things should be done, and I'm also very open for suggestions from bands I'm working with. Like I never tried using a SM7 on a hi-hat before. I always went with like condenser mics.
Yeah.
And then I recorded a band and they said, yeah, we used an SM7 for one recording once. And it sounded really good. Yeah, we can try that. And now I'm like using it all the time because it's so much more isolated and easier to get it apart from the rest of the kit.
So you still do a lot of recording currently, like you're still taking clients?
Yeah, that's my main income. That's what I do full time.
That's great. What kind of music do you like to record at your studio?
I prefer like really alternative rock, but mostly, at least as long as it's drum and guitar based, it's pretty much anything. The more organic, the better, I think.
Right.
But that's just my aesthetics. What it's called? Yeah. I like to work on other kind of genres too, but that's my preference. But I try not to push every band into my taste. But if they're already going that way, they kind of prefer to work with me anyways. For me, I think the studio where I work now, the most important like ingredients is the room, and to get a lot of the room into the sound, because that makes it sound more like alive and three-dimensional, sort of.
Yeah, the room is really the best piece of gear you could have for a studio.
But also like I try to implement using as much like analog equipment as possible in the recording phase. Because I actually do a lot of mixing in the box since I'm traveling a lot. So I try to catch, if I need something for character, I do it at the recording stage.
Nice.
Especially for vocals, it's always a lot of compression on the vocals.
So how do you know if you take something too far, like too much compression or too much EQ? Like, are you ever worried about regretting a decision later? Yeah,
I'm pretty conservative with EQ in the recording. I do some of it, but if I feel like this is where I want it to go, I just dial it back a little bit, so I have some give later. With compression, especially on vocals, I've never had an issue with it doing too much, because we have some in-house built LA2A clones, and I usually go for like between 10 and 20 dB reduction. And it just sounds great usually, and I think that usually like using that amount of compression on the vocals seems to like even out the frequencies a little bit too, so the vocals don't need as much EQ, in my opinion.
Yeah. So you're getting a lot of your tone from the mic, the placement, the choice of preamp, the compressor. That's really cool because it's minimalistic that way. Sort of. Yeah.
Even though the studio is not very minimalistic, but the workflow is pretty minimalistic here.
Yeah. So how do you like to set people up to track a song? I mean, do you try to get live kind of basic tracks, or you try to get everybody all at once, or do you build it piece by piece?
That depends totally on the band and on the kind of production you want to go for.
Yeah.
I really enjoy recording live, because you know that too, I guess, like recording drums for 5 days, it's not that much fun to listen to. It's like when all the pieces are coming together, then that's when it starts to get like you get something out of it.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy recording live, because then I get a feeling for the song immediately, and I can do like certain changes to stuff on the fly.
That's good.
But when I record one piece at a time, I mean, the facilities we have are pretty big, so I usually prefer to rig up everything like as if it would be a live recording, and then we can start recording drums, and if the drummer gets tired, we can move on to do something else, so we can just jump back and forth, and everything is like connected all the time.
So obviously you'd have to have enough mics to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like to where you're not ripping apart your drum setup to record guitar, you know. But that's really good insight.
Sometimes that can be a compromise, of course.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I remember that there's just a lot of times where I don't even really know how the song goes. Like, I kind of hear it for the first time as we layer it, and I'm kind of blindsided where I'm like, if I were the producer, I would be failing right now because I have no idea where the song is going, you know? But you said in a live kind of situation, it gives you a bearing and you're able to figure out what the song needs, and then you can make changes for guitar tone, mic choices, all that. That's really exactly. Cool.
Yeah, it's easy because all the components are already there and you already know what's needed to make them fit together.
Yeah.
And also like recording live in one room, I think it's already also very nice with the bleed and everything. It kind of helps things to blend together a little bit.
Yeah.
As long as you're aware of the bleed and make sure it sounds good.
Yeah. You pretty much have to balance all these projects for recording plus trying to make videos.
Yeah.
And that's like a pretty tight schedule, I'm sure.
I have been on like a slope with videos. I haven't done much lately, but a little bit with coming here to NAMM is like trying to get myself into it again. And also trying to schedule it more so I know what to do.
Yeah.
And I also used to do it in collaboration with like an online forum in Sweden called studio.se, and they quit like this spring, I think, or earlier this year. They like turned down the website, but then they sold the brand to the original creators. So now they're gonna start it again. So they're gonna start now after the summer. And they asked me again if I wanted to be one of the content creators.
Oh, nice.
So then I have like some accountability.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing with my personality is that I really need accountability, because otherwise I will just procrastinate into like forever.
So where on YouTube can people find your videos?
YouTube.com/HoboRec. It's HoboRec. If that's not clear. Like hobo, like a hobo, and rec, like record.
Where did you come up with that name?
At first, I mean, it was me and a friend that started the studio to begin with.
Okay.
And we were really inspired by like Russian and like Soviet stuff. So we tried. The first name was like Pravda Production. It's like the propaganda paper in Soviet. And we couldn't get that because there are some limits in what names you can have, because it cannot be taken in Europe already. And so the next name we had was.
Because it was taken by that paper?
No, it was some now.
Okay.
In European Union, someone had something called like that. And the next thing was Kalashnikov Creation. And it didn't work out either, because the name Kalashnikov was sold to some like streetwear brand. And then my friend then came up with Hobo, as for some reason he said it was like it meant aggression in Russia.
Huh.
But I'm not sure about that. But the fun thing though is that if you write Hobo like with those letters in Cyrillic, it's a novo, which means new.
Oh.
So it has a double meaning. Hobo like like I am, and a new. So it's pretty
nice. Cool. And you're on Facebook and Instagram as well?
Yeah.
Awesome. Same name though, right?
Same name
cool.
everywhere. Simple.
Awesome. Well, I really like your videos. You've done a lot of videos that I wish I did. It was like, man, that's such a good idea. That's such a cool video. And so I know that if people like my videos, they're going to love your videos. And so, yeah, anybody that watches my videos, go check out Ulf's videos. They're really cool. Go check out HoboRec. You do some really cool stuff.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I really enjoy hanging out with this guy. He's got like this understated humor that's really, really funny. And I don't know if he's trying to be funny, but he's just a really enjoyable guy to listen to. Definitely go check out his channel, subscribe to HoboRec, and I'm curious to know your thoughts on this interview. Comment below. I'll be hanging out there.
I want to say thanks for making great content.
Oh, sure. Thanks, man. You should check out his channel too. HoboRec. Yeah. Sweet, dude. Yeah, his channel's really good. It's like, if you like my channel, you'll love his. Yeah.
Nice.